Tonight, a worrying drop in passengers to Port Lincoln Airport, now the plan to boost visitors. And regional health in the spotlight amid concerns about the future of country hospitals.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight, two South Australian energy giants have revealed a plan to build a $130 million hybrid solar and gas power plant in Port Augusta. The project is a collaboration between Santos and Zen Energy and could play a major role in stabilising the state's electricity market next summer. Lauren Rose joins us now. And Lauren, this is quite separate from the power plans from earlier in the week.
It is, Tim. It has been a huge week for power announcements, with the government unveiling plans to build a state-owned gas-fired power plant and mega storage battery. This plan is being proposed by two private companies, Santos and Zen Energy, and is unrelated, and this one doesn't yet have development approval. The proposed project will generate 100 megawatts of power by using a combination of solar panels and battery storage during the day and gas at night time. The lifespan of the project, up to 2 hectares in size, is 15 years, and if approved will create up to 30 jobs during construction and up to 4 ongoing jobs. An exact location in Port Augusta is unknown, but the Zen CEO has released a statement citing benefits for the entire region, saying the long-term outcome of all this will be the emergence of the Upper Spencer Gulf as a region of secure, low-cost energy, which will make it an attractive base for many other industries. He also said the technology could be ready to go in time for next summer. Today, Port Augusta Council told Southern Cross News this is the first they've heard of the project and questioned the logistics of transporting the gas. Tim?
OK, thank you, Lauren. Lauren Rose reporting from Port Augusta there. Declining passenger numbers to Port Lincoln Airport have prompted the Lower Eyre Peninsula Council to consider allocating thousands of dollars to prop up the tourism market. The decline in travel has forced the council onto the front foot, with concerns growing on how it will affect local businesses.
It's the gateway to the Eyre Peninsula, but latest airport figures show travellers are looking elsewhere.
2010, when QantasLink came into the market and introduced competition, and we had a big spike in passenger numbers up to 190,000. There's been a slow but consistent decline since that time.
The council says one of the factors for the decline in airport numbers has been a direct result from the rise in ticket prices. The average price for a return trip from Adelaide to Port Lincoln can be upwards of $300, a significant increase from previous years. The recent fall in numbers has also been accredited to business activity and the local economy, but the council is open to ideas.
Part of the strategy that council want to put in place is to be working with the airlines and probably to take a more proactive stance in being engaged with the airlines. The council at its meeting last week decided that it was prepared to put a percentage of its passenger levy into promotion of the region and marketing.
In a statement from Regional Express today, the airline urged the council not to dig into their pockets. It believes the declining passenger numbers on the Port Lincoln to Adelaide route is to be expected, especially in such a fragile industry as regional aviation. Rex also says it would urge the council not to waste money on such initiatives. But despite the drop in numbers, Qantas confirmed its commitment to the region. It says demand for the service between Adelaide and Port Lincoln continues to be strong, with up to 25 return flights per week. QantasLink was also the major sponsor of the Tunarama Festival. Despite the fear of passenger numbers falling, the council says the EP is still going from strength to strength.
I still believe that the tourism of our region is growing.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Fire crews were called to a grass fire east of Port Pirie this afternoon. It's believed a number of homes came under threat as the fire burnt through grassland. Our reporter Keziah Sullivan filed this report from the scene.
The fire broke out at around 1:30 this afternoon. It started in a crop paddock and quickly spread through the valley. Emergency services moved as quick as they could to get to the scene, as there was fears the fire would spread into the scrubland in the Beetaloo Valley. Police blocked off all access to the Beetaloo Valley and Palmer Road. Water bombers were called in from Adelaide to help control the fire. Around 19 fire trucks were called in to assist on the ground, and also lending a hand was a number of local farmers. Houses were under threat and emergency warnings were sent out to all local residents. At around 4 o'clock this afternoon, the fire was contained but not controlled. This is a timely reminder that although summer is over, residents still need to be prepared for bushfires.
Kezia Sullivan reporting there. Rural health workers from across the state gathered in Corn last night to share their concerns about the centralisation of health services to major hospitals. One local GP says country hospitals are now nothing more than first aid clinics and warned the government cutbacks will lead to a spike in deaths in transit.
Dr. Tony Leanne Lloyd has been a general practitioner in Corn for over 2 decades and says he's seen the erosion of healthcare firsthand.
There's a whole list of country hospitals that have had services, provisions, maintenance and everything cut back progressively over the last 10 years.
He was one of many rural healthcare workers to give a testimonial at last night's meeting and was backed by state politicians who said the list of complaints they receive is endless.
I take my advice primarily from doctors and nurses and allied health professionals and others who work in the area who do tell me that the government is always looking to streamline services.
It's very interesting because a lot of the concerns are similar. It's about maintaining assets so that you can actually maintain services.
But the health department says it hasn't received any complaints from the region.
Not specifically.
And maintains it continues to invest in all 64 hospitals managed by Country Health SA.
We would have to say that we deliver high quality, wonderful health services for the people in country South Australia.
But Dr. Leanne Lloyd says the difficulty of recruiting workers to the region combined with the centralisation of services to major hospitals is deadly.
You're going to hear increased cases of deaths in transit to major public hospitals when they could be managed locally. You're going to have poorer health outcomes for elderly people because of the lack of the highly skilled staff.
In Corn, Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news. 1 million tonnes shipped out of Port Lincoln, a record grain harvest after our wet summer. That's next. Welcome back. Mining company Perelia says they expect operations to get underway at the North Mine in Broken Hill within the next 6 months. Council says it's excited about what the reopening could do for the town.
Perelia last year announced it was reopening the North Mine in the heart of the Silver City, which has been inactive since 1993. The company has been preparing the site and is awaiting a mining licence from the Department of Resources.
From a council perspective, we just think it's fantastic. Mining's the home, or Broken Hill's the home of mining and traditional mining at that, and the North Mine represents all of that.
The licence would allow Perelia to operate the site, but they don't expect to receive approval until August.
The opportunity to have that reopen, provide further employment, increased employment for the town is something that's, I think Council's very excited about and very supportive of.
Perelia has been carrying out electrical work and pit stabilisation under an interim mining plan. It submitted several development applications to Council, one being a pipeline from its southern operations to service the North Mine. The pipeline is needed to prepare the mine for reopening, and Council say they are hoping to assist Perelia through continuous discussions.
Always very happy to advocate, facilitate and provide assistance wherever we can. So, no, we deal with Perelia regularly, as we do with a lot of the other organisations around town, and I'm very excited about this opportunity.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Viterra's Port Lincoln terminal today shipped its 1 millionth tonne of grain for the season, making it the biggest harvest on record. The company, which employs close to 2,000 South Australians, says the wet summer played a large role in the bumper season.
It's the biggest harvest on record. Over 1 million tonnes of grain exported from Port Lincoln this year.
Across South Australia, we've seen just over 9 million tonnes of grain come into the Viterra system, and here on Eyre Peninsula we've seen just over 3 million tonnes come into the Viterra system here.
The Western region accounts for almost 30% of the state's grain and is an important factor of the Eyre Peninsula's economy.
Brilliant for the economy, so agriculture is a very strong contributor to the South Australian economy. Importantly, grain is a critical contributor to agriculture here in South Australia, so it's very, very important.
After months of intense work, the harvest is drawing to a close. Relief for nearly 2,000 regional workers.
Viterra employs 1,900 people over the harvest period, and that's 1,900 harvest casuals that come on to support our 750 permanent staff across South Australia.
The bumper harvest due to a wet summer. Farmers hopeful next year will produce similar results.
We certainly need everything going our way. We're seeing agronomic practices get better right across Australia. But look, we did see some great rainfall through the season, and that's out of our control. So that's something that we need. We definitely rely on for strong agricultural production.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill Police are preparing for a busy weekend with the St Pat's race meeting, just one of the major events they have to cover. One of their focuses will be targeting drink drivers with RBTs to be set up around the city.
Harness racing, sidecar state titles and St Pat's are making an almighty weekend in Broken Hill.
Probably one of our biggest on the calendar, St Pat's and the related events over the weekend. We'll certainly have additional police both on the road, at the events and in licensed premises.
Police want locals and visitors to have a fun weekend, but also a safe weekend.
We'll be doing RBT on the roads. Our police will be ensuring responsible service of alcohol, assisting licensees in that regard. And certainly the big message out there is if you're asked to leave or you're told you've had enough to drink, take that warning.
Refusing police instructions could result in on-the-spot fines or worse, an appearance in court. RBTs will be posted all across the Silver City, catching drivers making the wrong choices.
If you're going to be driving, have a plan B. The chances of being breath tested this weekend in Broken Hill are high.
And if you're one of the 6,000 expected through the gates or having drinks later in the night at pubs and clubs, police have a message for you.
Think about their fellow road users, fellow patrons in licensed premises and, of course, people enjoying the races. It's a great weekend for the city. Everyone enjoy yourself and just be safe.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
The Emergency Services Family Fun Day is returning to Port Augusta this weekend. From 10 o'clock on Sunday, locals can come down to Gladstone Square to see 9 emergency services in action. It's hoped the day will give the community a greater understanding of the roles of those who are there to help and also act as a volunteer recruitment drive. Well, Sunrise weather presenter Sam Mack is heading to the Silver City tomorrow. He'll present the weather from Broken Hill's iconic Palace Hotel. The team will be on location from 4:45 right through until 8:30 tomorrow morning. It is early, but it's worth it to get on TV. So make sure you head down on your way to work or school, and don't forget you can catch Sunrise here on Southern Cross from 5:30. Well, stay with us when we return after the break. Kids in Whyalla given a few lessons on tricks from the skate park. The details next. Welcome back. Whyalla kids have been learning the tricks of the skateboarding trade at a program running in the city this week. Organisers say Snakes Sessions is a great opportunity to teach kids not only tricks but some important life skills.
Whyalla's local skate park is busier than usual this week, with professional tricksters in town. Snake Sessions is in the city, helping kids learn about the culture of the street.
In this project, we're exploring the street cultures and the street styles as a kind of dance, as a kind of performance.
Snake Session sets up in skate parks, teaching kids tricks across BMX, skateboard and parkour. After a week of work, a demonstration will be held in the Whyalla skate park on Saturday night. Lee says it's a chance for both his group and local kids to exchange ideas.
And it could be things about life or local knowledge, where's the best waterhole and things like that. And we're also sharing knowledge about the culture of skate parks.
Parkour performer Catherine Pewey says she's trying to get kids to exercise using different parts of their body.
Get off their bikes or their skateboards and actually use their bodies in maybe a less, familiar way.
And judging by the kids' reactions, they've enjoyed every minute.
Have you learned something to practice in the future?
Yeah, decades now. They taught me how to do them.
People were teaching me new stuff and learning new tricks.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Port Pirí's largest nursing home service, Helping Hand, has combined their 2 nursing homes into one. Residents of the Senate Road home were relocated to the Halliday Street home, which has just received a major revamp.
Shirley Bladd has fond memories of living at the Senate Road nursing home, but after the recent relocation, she now calls Halliday Street home.
How's the transition been to the Halliday Street?
Very good, very good. People are very
very nice.
Shirley isn't alone. Many others made the transition just before Christmas. For them, Senate Road was their home.
The residents up there who have had their own area for a long period of time become very devoted to it and very fond of it.
The big move was worth it.
The new area behind us here that we've established is much larger, and we've also been able to refurbish one of the older wings on site here.
Residents can now enjoy their retirement in a first-class facility.
Overall it went quite smooth, and they were quite surprised when they moved into the new areas about how modern and good looking the areas are.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
The Broken Hill harness racing season comes to a close tomorrow night with its Carnival of Cups night. The night traditionally kicks off a big weekend in the Silver City with St Pat's, of course, the next day. 6 races are pencilled in, with visiting Victorian and South Australian trainers making up full fields for the night. The first race is at 7 o'clock. Well, time now to see what's biting. Here's this week's fishing tips.
Welcome to another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. It's time to learn how to fillet and skin your snapper, because at the moment there's sizes from panties up to big knobbers being floating around. You sometimes do have to go a little bit better. Around the Illusion might be a good heads up, but also around the creeks in Port Pirie you'll find there's good sized snapper. Belly up heavy, and you'll be very surprised what you catch in the shallow waters. Our blue swimmer crabs are still on, so it's not too long to get a quota of those. And we've seen a few of the salmon and yellowfin whiting starting to come back around the place. So don't forget, as this season gets a little bit colder, keep your squid jag over. It might be a good opportunity for you.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jaw of the North. Well, we're certainly into the definite change of seasons at the moment. It's starting to get really nippy in the mornings. Squid are starting to show up in better numbers. Even down the Flinders Channel, they're starting to get some good ones in there. Around the number 2 or Letty Spit area, around number 9 Beacon as well. Also, full moon at the moment. Once that moon goes away, try dabbing for garfish in amongst the mangroves along the shack area. Big Tommy Ruff's up in there as well. Silver whiting along the front of the shacks, and King George whiting starting to pick up in good numbers and good sizes too.
Hi everyone, wireless fishing report for this week. There's been some absolute beautiful sized silver whiting caught in front of the caravan park along the foreshore. The trick is get down there nice and early in the morning. They've been best biting around the 7 to 9 a.m. And using either fresh sandworms or fresh prawns for bait. There's been some really good fish gotten caught down there, so get amongst them. For the snapper front in Whyalla, there's been lots of legal size snapper coming off the Black Point coastline. So if you're land-based fishing, get out there and have a crack. And for the boaties, there's been a fair few snapper caught from the rip. No real big ones, but some good fish amongst them.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, locally the blue crabs are still running pretty well. Most boats are getting a good feed when they head out, but there have been some good squid around in the local bays and also some nice garfish within the bay as well. Moving up to Louse Bay, there's been some yellowfin caught off the beaches up there. Moving down to Coffin Bay, out through the farm beach grounds, the whiting are improving through there. There's been a few snook through that area as well. Out wide of Sir Isaac's, the tuna have been really good out past Whidbey and towards the hummocks, and also out around Greenley Island. There's also been some Samson fish caught out towards Rocky Island too.
Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have a check of the local weather. Welcome back. Turning to the weather now, a fine and mild one today. A bit cooler as well, 25 in Port Augusta and 24 in Whyalla. Port Lincoln 22, Port Pirie 27, Broken Hill fine on 32 today. On the national satellite image, patchy cloud is moving across ahead of a high coming in from the west. Out on the Gulf waters, the winds to 20 knots into the east tomorrow, seas to 1.5 metres in southerly. Sunrise at 19 minutes past 7. So Port Augusta tomorrow sunny and 32 degrees, 27 in Whyalla and 24 in Port Lincoln. Port Pirie 32 as well, 31 in Broken Hill. And the weekend is looking mainly fine and warm, 29 then 31 degrees in Port Lincoln, 33 both days in Cleve, Woodner on 37 both days. Whyalla 35 and 34 this weekend, 36 and 35 in Port Augusta, 34 both days for Kadina. Port Pirie 35 then 36, Clarewood 33 on Saturday and 32 degrees on Sunday, and the same for the races in Broken Hill. And don't forget sunrise tomorrow morning with Sam Mack presenting the weather from Broken Hill's iconic Palace Hotel. Head down from 5:45 until 8:30, and of course you can catch sunrise here on Southern Cross from 5:30. And that is the local news for this evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the news team. Enjoy your evening. Good night.